You know, I think it's an understatement to say that Pokemon Legends EA has a lot of promise. A hefty news drought like the one we were experiencing has a tendency to blow our expectations through the roof, too. But I like to practice a habit of keeping my hopes in check. So I think it's really healthy to discuss realistic ways Legends EA can improve and evolve the mechanics from Legends Arceus. Oh, and don't let it stop with me either. As the video plays, please feel free to type out some cool features you think we could see or that you want in the comments section so that we can keep the conversation going. I'd love to talk further about all this with you there. Now, if you're like me, Pokemon Legends Arceus was the best Pokemon game you've played in a long time. It was a true evolution to the franchise that added so much more gameplay variety, stakes, and polish to a series we can all admit had become quite repetitive. Well, at least if you keep up with playing all of them, that is. The added mechanics included, but weren't limited to, Pokemon attacking you in the overworld, a dodge roll to avoid said attacks, a health bar for your player character, seamless control over throwing your Pokemon out, the ability to seamlessly have your Pokemon help you gather resources, catching Pokemon in real time, fighting Pokemon in real time with your human character, the ability to seamlessly traverse the world open air style by riding several different Pokemon, and gosh, so much more that if I were to list them, we'd be here all day. So, if PLA was able to push the series so far forward, I truly believe Game Freak wants to push it even further with ZA. This can be done by introducing new mechanics, of course, but also by evolving mechanics previously explored in Legends Arceus. And that's precisely what I want to talk about today. So, let's get started. One such mechanic that could really use some improvement is swimming. In PLA, your character could enter the water without the need of a Pokemon for the first and currently only time in mainline. This was short-lived though. Our avatars drowned pretty quickly after jumping into the water, unless you call up Basculegion to save you. Like, I kinda just want to swim with my Pokemon, you know? I still can, for about 3 to 5 seconds at a time, but that moment of bliss is just so fleeting, and I want more. Obviously, it makes sense to have a Pokemon help you traverse water, but I believe there can be a better balance to this. Perhaps just give the character a stamina meter that barely loses out in early game areas so that the spots the creators want blocked off until we receive our water ride Pokemon remain off limits until then. I don't think it would have even hurt Legends Arceus to have had this, as all the important areas divided by water were pretty far away anyways. With Lumiose, bodies of water will likely be smaller, so I actually think it would be less intrusive to just let our character swim unhindered and just have a water ride Pokemon to speed up our traversal. Heck, maybe even throw some diving in there. I mean, come on. I feel like full unhindered swimming used to be a norm in video games, and nowadays, it seems so rare. Can we just go back to being able to fully enjoy our sandboxes, please? But I digress. Let's move on to another mechanical improvement we can see in Legends EA, and that is the ride Pokemon themselves. In PLA, we had Pokemon made specifically to ride. These were called Noble Pokemon. We had Weirdeer to gallop the land, Basculegion to swim the waters, Sneasler to climb the mountains, and Braviary to fly the skies. Oh yeah, and there's Ursaluna too, but we don't talk about her. Anyways, these Pokemon were all well and good, but for the next game, there's some changes I believe should be made to evolve this feature. For one, in PLA, these Pokemon existed separately from your stash of captured Pokemon. Their sole purpose is to carry you on their backs. I'm not saying the separation wasn't elegant in its own right, but wouldn't it be cooler if we could ride the Pokemon we actually caught? Matter of fact, wouldn't it be perfect if we could have different options for any given role, and we get to set that Pokemon to be our ride for that type of traversal? Maybe you don't get what I'm saying. For example, let's say we have an Arcanine and a Rapidash. I can set either one to be my land ride, so when I press a button to seamlessly summon them in the overworld, that's who pops up beneath me. And if some masochist out there tries to release a Pokemon in their boxes that they've set as their ride Pokemon, they're met with a prompt saying that that's set as the ride Pokemon and cannot be released until you set a different one. Bam! All bases covered for those of you who are about to type that out in the comments as a reason they supposedly couldn't do this. Yeah, I see you. And I got you covered. As I was saying though, that obviously wouldn't be specific to land rides either. Water rides would have options like Lapras or Gyarados. Air rides could be Noivern, Talonflame, or Aerodactyl. Hell, maybe even Yveltal. Yeah, well, you get the point. Matter of fact, something like this has already been done before in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where you had several Pokemon for different archetypes of traversal, which lends more credence to this being a possible full 3D translation of that mechanic for Legends EA. Yeah, and not only should you be able to ride on several Pokemon for each archetype, but we should also be able to catch Pokemon in real time from each of these different types of rides as well. In Legends Arceus, we could only do so on Basculegion, but imagine if we could have done it on Weirdeer and Braviary as well. It seemed like they may have originally intended for that to be the case, but they didn't have time to code it in, so they prioritized Basculegion as they knew that was the most important one since we're going to be having battles all over the water. All in all, this is all feasible and honestly very likely for where Game Freak will take this mechanic moving forward. Speaking of which, another mechanic in Legends Arceus needed a clear improvement. One that would actually be so simple for them to integrate as they already added it in Scarlet and Violet. And that is a command for your Pokemon to follow you. Yeah, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, the Pokemon Freedom mechanic was one of the best things we got in that game. At any moment, and pretty much anywhere, we could throw out however many Pokemon on our team we felt like to chill with us in the overworld. But I think I speak for everyone when I say it was weird that they wouldn't walk around. It was fine at the time, but after seeing them implement the follow mechanic so well in Scarlet and Violet, I believe now is the time to finally marry these two mechanics together. In Scarlet and Violet, you could actually press in on the left analog stick to command your Pokemon to either stay still or to follow you. Problem is, in that game, you could only have one Pokemon out to follow you at a time. If you wanted all 6 out, you would have to open a menu, select Picnic, and then you'd be confined to a small space to play with all 6. Now, if we mash together the ability to take out all 6 of our Pokemon seamlessly from Legends Arceus, and then mash together the ability to command your Pokemon to follow you with the left stick, then there you go. Problem solved. Matter of fact, this is one new mechanic that I think is already confirmed to be in Legends EA, as the original teaser trailer already showed an NPC walking with 6 Pokemon following them. And as proven by Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, NPCs nowadays interact with their Pokemon the same way that we do with our player character. In PLA, just like they did with us, they also just stood next to their trainers. In SV, just like our player character, they would only have one Pokemon follow them around. I don't know about you guys, but if all 6 of our Pokemon are following us around in Pokemon Legends EA, then I am excited for this feature big time. On the topic of taking our Pokemon out, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, we could use our Pokemon to destroy roadblocks in certain parts of the map. This was one of my favorite features, yet it felt like something was missing. Yeah, it felt too easy. I'd love to see Game Freak implement roadblocks that need type-specific Pokemon to fix or destroy them. You could have a tree branch that needs to be lit on fire by a fire type, an electric gate that needs a zap of electricity to open from an electric type, a boulder that needs a fighting type to push. Now, I'm not talking 8 gems here. I just think this is a fun way to add a bit of puzzle solving to a game without becoming too intrusive. You just need the Pokemon that fits the archetype for that roadblock. Now, way number 5 Pokemon Legends EA can improve on Arceus is the town expansion system. If you recall, in PLA, Jubilife Village grew as you progressed through the story. More buildings got made, more shops opened up, and even the Galaxy headquarters got more fixtures, culminating in a rooftop you could access with your Pokemon. Now, in Legends EA, the whole game is set to take place within Lumiose City. I do believe there will be a growth aspect to the city and even different sectors we unlock as we progress. But I'd love it if Game Freak gave us a more active role in building it. PLA actually did explore this a bit by allowing us to give certain Pokemon to the farmers to allow for better crop growth. So, perhaps we mix the two within Legends EA. Perhaps in ZA, we'll be able to assign some of our captured Mon to help build up the entire city. Give a Pikachu to help power the power plant. Give Machamp to help build buildings. Give a Gyarados to help fill fountains and reservoirs around the city. Talonflame can help light the lanterns at night, or even keep the heat up so that villagers and Pokemon can sleep soundly at night. So many possibilities, and they don't even need to show the Pokemon actually doing the deeds. Just show them stationed there and we see the benefits of their work as we walk around. This would be a delightful way to bring the city building feature to feel even more personable and satisfying. as we can look back and say, yeah, we did that. Anyways, these are my realistic expectations for how Game Freak can improve on PLA's mechanics. But again, don't forget to tell me your own in the comment section. In the meantime, catch up with more of my videos like this one here where I talk about why Legends is the best thing to happen to Pokemon since Go. I've been johtojonny, and I'll catch you all there.